Okay, hello. It's Phoebe Dre, the Cashflow Pocket Rocket, and I'm coming to you today with episode number 32 of the Profit to Cash podcast. And I'm so excited because it is my second interview podcast episode. First, I had the amazing Michelle Anderson from The Tidy Effect, went all about decluttering your life. And today I've got the beautiful Julia Zielke from Sales Inside Edge. And Julia is actually my sales coach. So I wanted to bring her here today because she's added so much value to me personally and to my business and to my growth that I thought it was really important for my listeners also to learn, because sales is something that I personally have not been excited about. I love it when someone contacts me and they want to work with me, but actually picking up the phone, doing the cold calling, all those things, I know sometimes they can make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, or they do for me. So I thought it'd be really great to have Julia on here today because she's really pushing me outside my comfort zone to take the action that I know I need to take in my business to grow it to where I want it to be. And so I'm sure we can all learn some really great strategies and tips from Julia. So welcome, Julia, to the podcast.
Hey, Phoebe, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. It's my very second podcast interviewee. It's very exciting. So, Julia, just to get started today, I'd love for you to tell us and the listeners where you're calling in from today.
I'm in Brisbane. Well, I'm in Ipswich, so just outside of Brisbane in Queensland.
Awesome. So not too far from me because I'm on the Gold Coast. Beautiful part of the world.
Yeah.
Now, Julia, as I've just mentioned to everyone, you are a sales coach. So I'd love for you to share just a little bit about what it is that you do and what led you on this journey to becoming a sales coach, because sales is something that a lot of people avoid. So I'd love to learn why you jumped in and actually have created this to be your profession, your living, your passion, and what it was that led you on this journey.
Yeah, no worries. How do we put that into 2 minutes? So look, I'm not going to lie to you. When I very first started in sales, I think I was like most business owners and I avoided it like the plague. And I did a business marketing degree, and a science degree, but my business marketing, I came out of this marketing degree and I was like, I'm never doing sales. And I think like a combination of, I thought it was below me and I just did not have the confidence, or I didn't think I had the confidence to go and sell. So I was quite adamant that that's not what I was going to do. But as it turned out, someone I knew, a good friend of mine, offered me a job as the sales and marketing manager. And my job was to be traveling through Asia, so Vietnam, Malaysia, China, importing furniture. So we would travel overseas and we would buy furniture and we would import it in whole container loads to some of the largest retail chains here in Australia. And when he offered me the job, I thought, it's sales. I don't know if I want to do that. But then I went, traveling over the world when I was, 22, 23, let's have a go. So I jumped into it and it was the most eye-opening experience. And truthfully, in the very beginning, I hid behind my computer for about 6 months and I did not make a single sale. I didn't contact anyone. And then I got completely busted. And he said to me, listen, you want to keep your job, you're going to have to get out there and get in front of people. So he pretty much kicked me out of the office and said, go and meet some people. And what I found, and I guess what I decided in those very early days, is that sales for me wasn't going to be about a transaction or about a number. It was going to be about building a relationship. So I went into all of my meetings with this mindset of, I want to find out more about you and what you need before I tell you what I have to offer. And it's probably something that I've taken with me through my whole sales career. So I've gone from importing furniture to selling advertising space in national newspapers. And the last 13 or so years I've spent in the pharmaceutical industry. And I guess what led me to my journey of starting my own business is that what I really recognize is that the pharmaceutical industry are probably one of the most incredible industries in the world when it comes to sales training. So they train us and spend so much money on training us. But the piece that they don't ever train you on is the mindset. It's the headspace. It's the building confidence. It's the assertiveness. It's the getting really laser focused on what your goals are, your strategies and your actions. It's looking at things like how you're spending your day and making sure you're doing things in the most productive way for your energy levels. And when I kind of discovered the neuroscience and the brain-based coaching piece, it was just a light bulb for me. I thought, wow, this stuff has taken me 20 years to learn, and now I can teach someone this in one session. I can teach confidence and assertiveness and mindfulness and strategies and actions and goals and making them really relevant. So for me, it was a real aha moment that I thought, I also love small business. I'm really fascinated by people who take their purpose and what they love and try and build a business out of it. So for me, it was about how can I combine my sales and my selling as well as my mindset work, and how can I help people to keep doing what they love? So yeah, that was my long journey into a short period of time. But yeah, sales
I love that.
Absolutely my jam. And
I love the mindset piece too. I think that's so important. And I know, you know, really everything comes down to your mindset and your confidence and your assertiveness. So it's actually having that confidence, because everyone has fear. I don't care whether you're Oprah Winfrey down to your neighbor next door. Everyone has their own level of fear or uncertainty around something and confidence. And it's about actually facing that fear and moving through it. And what I always like to say is that action helps you to get over that fear. So if you've got something that's holding you up inside, that's kind of making you nervous, and we were chatting about it this morning, Julia, and it's just actually starting to take that action, gets rid of that fear for you. And it doesn't really ever go away, but it's just about getting that little bit more energy or momentum or passion or drive, even if it's just one tiny little teaspoon more than what your fear is, to kind of keep you moving forward. And so I love you combine that the mindset piece with the sales, because it definitely is all around your mindset and your confidence to keep moving out there. Now, when you were sharing that, Julia, you were really passionate. So what makes you so passionate about it? Like what lights you up about sales and working with your clients?
Yeah, such a great question. And I think one of the pieces that I did a lot of work on early in the piece was getting really clear on my purpose and why I wanted to do this. And I do a lot of work with my clients, and I did it with myself as well, using Simon Sinek's methods to really uncover my purpose. And for me, when I got really clear on that and I understood that my purpose is about empowering other people to keep doing what they love. And I do that because I know that when I do what I love, just like when you do what you love, and when any of my clients are doing what they love, they genuinely make such a difference in the lives of other people. You know, when you do what you love, you know you have that impact on your clients and those people around you. And it's not just your clients. It can be your clients, your employees, your family. My kids often say to me, oh, we know exactly what mum does, and she tells us this and she tells us that. You know, and that's because I love what I do. And I feel so fortunate that I've got the skills to bring money on board to allow me to do what I love. So that's the real passion piece for me. It's that I want to take what you love doing, but I want to make sure that you've got money coming in so you can fuel that purpose.
I love that. It's kind of like you're on the flip side of me. So I'm all around the numbers and the money and the cash flow and understanding that. And then yours, and because you have to have cash in business to survive. It's like the blood. I always say that cash is like the blood in your business, and sales are like the oxygen. And without either one of them, you can't have a successful business. So you really need sales to kind of keep that business moving forward, the engine pumping, the heart pumping, and then you need the blood to keep flowing around, to keep things moving and to keep all those cells in your body with nutrient in them. So I love that. And I also, you mentioned there about, it's so much bigger than just the person themselves doing what they love. It's also about how they impact their family. And I always share that as well, having that cash flow rich business and having that successful business driven by the sales really has such a greater impact than what, you're able to actually have a bigger impact in the world, whether it's with your customers or your family or your community or whatever lights you up. So I really love that. I think we've got a lot of synergies there, Jules, with all of that. And now why would someone ring you up, Julia, or why would, if you rung them up, because I know you love getting on the phone and ringing people. And one of my mentors used to always say to me, puff, Phoebe, puff. And I'd be like, what's this puff? And she'd be like, pick up the effing phone. And I'd be like, because so many people these days, especially with text message and email and Messenger and Slack and WhatsApp and all those other platforms, it's so easy to hide behind messages. So what is it that would entice someone to ring you, or for you to ring them and them to say yes to you? What is it that they would want to engage your services for?
Yeah, great question. And I love the puff. I've actually stolen that from you or from whoever told you, and I've used it because I love it. Look, if people are going to come and work for me or work with me, is really business owners when they love what they do and they don't want to go back to a 9 to 5 that doesn't inspire them anymore. That they're really aware that life is too short to do something that, to be in a job that you just don't love, especially when you've got that knowing, that burning inside to know that there's something else that you should or could be doing out there. So they're really the people that I love working with, those people who have that kind of inner drive to go and do something else. Because I'm not going to lie to you, and we had this conversation this morning, picking up the phone can be really hard, and it's not always something that's easy. I did it for 20 years, and still that cold calling pace can be that little bit awkward and uncomfortable. But if you've got that inner burning and drive, it's worth it. And so you have to kind of balance that. Is it worth the discomfort for the purpose I'm bringing to life? So number one is that it has to be people who are really passionate about what they do. And number two, it's people who want to take their business to the next level. So it's people who really want to grow their sales. And part of what I do with clients is get them to get laser focused on what that dollar is. And for a lot of people, it really scares them. It's certainly wherever my number came from, I plucked it from somewhere, it scared the bejeebers out of me. And I remember as soon as you start to think about that number, it brings up all the doubt in my mind. I can't do that. My dad didn't earn that much. No one's earned that much anywhere around me. But for whatever reason, it really excited me. So for me, it's those people who have a purpose and they want to take the business to the next level. That's where the selling strategies start to come in, because there are so many different ways that we can sell. And I've sold everything from, like I was telling you, from furniture to advertising space to prescription medication. And each of those businesses have this really fascinating blueprint of how they approach customers and how they grow their businesses to the next level, how they put their packages and their prices together, and how they contact people. So regardless of where your business is, whether you're already earning $1 million or whether you want to get it to $1 million or you want to grow it to $10 million, there's always strategies that we can implement in between. So really, if anyone wants to work with me, it's people who are passionate about what they do. They've got a number in their head that's more than where they're at right now, and they want some strategies around how can we get it to that next level.
Fantastic. I love that. And I love the strategy piece because, I was talking earlier with Julia as well about up until today, with a lot of my content that I've been putting out, I feel like it's been a bit of a scattergun approach with no real strategy of driving, moving that customer through that customer journey to wanting to work with me. So if you're listening to this, I kind of created this podcast, put it out there because it was a passion piece for me, and what I do, absolutely love. But I feel like, my content strategy and my sales and marketing strategy hasn't been structured in such a way that it's got an actual journey piece for someone. And after my call with Julia, I was on a call with another coach who was showing me their customer journey, and it was so impactful. And so I think, if you can map out your customer journey, if you know there's gaps in the knowledge or gaps in your strategy that you want to fill with someone who's an absolute expert in sales, that can help you get outside your comfort zone, push you out there, do the mindset piece, and definitely pick up the phone and have a chat with Julia, because I know she can help you. So who has been the most important professional mentor for you in your career, Julia?
Okay. This is a challenging one, but, I'm going to have to say my very first boss was probably one of my most influential, and not for the reasons that, not in terms of teaching, because he didn't necessarily teach me the selling skills. What he taught me was more about business, and it was more about understanding where your strengths and your weaknesses lie. So he was a business owner who was dyslexic, and he very much knew that he needed me in his sales and marketing role for the written communication. He was fabulous on the phone. He was really great at building connections, but he knew where he needed me. So my learning from him was so pivotal, because it made me realize that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all together, and you don't have to know everything. You just have to be aware of where your strengths and weaknesses are, and then you find people who can help you to fill in those gaps. And so that I've really taken that with me all through my sales career, but mostly in my business career as well, is recognizing where my weaknesses are, and that as soon as I possibly can hire. So as soon as I could hire a virtual assistant to help me out with my social media strategy, I did it. And I remember people saying to me, I'm not going to hire a virtual assistant until I do the work and I know what I'm passing on. But I knew it was a weakness for me. I knew that I wouldn't do it. So I had to hire that role out as soon as I could. For me, the next piece is hiring out someone probably at a higher level in the marketing, because I don't love or enjoy the marketing. Although it's my area, it's not what I want to go do. So yeah, he was really that that really pivotal person when, you know, of course he kicked me out the door and made me start selling as well, but really that pivotal person who made me realize that you don't have to be perfect, you don't have to know it all, you just have to be able to use your skills to build relationships and then work out where your strengths and weaknesses are, and for your weaknesses find someone else to help you there.
Love that. Absolutely. And I think sometimes we're taught that we've got to improve all of our weaknesses and try and be that better person. But sometimes I think it's actually a better use of our own time and our energy to focus on what we're absolutely amazing at. And then bring in those people, whether it's a consultant, an employee, a coach, someone to help you fill in those areas where you're not as strong as. And I think that's 100%. I love that lesson. Okay, so
I was just going to add there's an amazing book called Who Not How by Dan Sullivan, and he really talks about it. It's not necessarily about working out how you're going to hit your goals, it's working out who you need to bring on board so you can hit your goals.
Perfect. And I know
really, plays.
Yeah, a lady that I follow as well, a coach in the US, she talks about mapping out her $1 million. She had a goal to hit, I think, $10 million in her business. And so she said she actually mapped out the team that she needed to help her achieve that 10 million goal, because she knew it wasn't something she could do on her own. And I think that's what, as a small business owner, what we can get often trapped in is thinking that we all have to do it all on our own. And sometimes we're scared to bring on those employees. I know, when talking to some of my clients, when they're at that stage where they really need to bring on that employee to help them get their business to the next level, it's quite a daunting thing. They're quite scared about doing it. And then I'll kind of work through the mindset piece to actually help them bring them on and say that probably your first hire is always going to be your most challenging, and they might not work out, and you might put all this effort into it and get all excited, and after 6 months they leave you, or after a month, or even after a week they might leave you and you get disappointed. But it's just about rolling with the punches, I guess, knowing that that's an outcome that could happen, and not kind of stopping yourself, I guess, from actually taking those steps that you need to take to help you get your business to the next level, because you can't do it all on your own, no matter what. You can automate, you can systemize things, but you really need to have other people to help you get there. So I love that one.
Agreed. Unfortunately, I think women are probably bad at it because we tend to want to do everything ourselves. Guys go, here's my business idea, I'm just going to hire 10 people to do it, and I'll fund it somehow. Where women tend to build the business, a bit like motherhood. No, it's all right, I can do it all myself.
I can do it all. Marsha, I'll work till midnight to get it there and wake up early, and I can do it all.
So the sooner we realize we need that community around us, just like raising a child, we need the community. But as soon as you get that in business as well, will definitely help move you forward so much faster.
Yeah, and it can be like a mastermind that you could be part of, or networking events you join. Like I know when I had the accounting firm, and I did feel like I was so alone at times, and I remember sitting at the computer and thinking no one else understood me, or what was going on, and how stressed I was, and that I was about to have a nervous breakdown. And it was interesting, as soon as I started actually getting out to networking events and just chatting to other business owners and being vulnerable and open and sharing, I realized that I wasn't alone, and so many other people felt the same. And it was like, not that it helped, like it didn't change my situation, but it just helped me feel like I wasn't alone anymore. And that, whatever happened, it was going to be okay. That there's other people that have probably been through worse situations and still are alive and have got through the other side and now probably a stronger person for it. So yeah, really, yes, didn't change the actual situation I was in, but definitely helped make the journey a little bit less lonesome and challenging. Absolutely. Okay, so the next question, Jules. So what's one lesson your job has taught you over your lifetime that you think everyone should learn at some point in their life?
How to sell?
Yes.
So look, the truth is we all have to sell on every level. I don't care what you do, you're selling. Whether you're selling an idea to your husband that you're going to go on a holiday or without him, or if you're in business, you've got to sell. So yes. I think the number one lesson is learn how to sell. And I'm not going to tell you, I didn't love it to start with, but once you find that space and that headspace of how you can love it, it becomes so fun. You get to meet the most incredible people. You get to see these amazing journeys that people go on. You also then get to, have that money, like the excitement I see on people's faces when they earn their $10,000 and $20,000 months that they've been trying to do. Or one of my clients had $100,000 month the other day. Like we started, and her goal was to do $100,000 months, and she did it 1 month later. She was like, that look on her face was so exciting. And it's not all about the money, we know that, but it's really exciting for people when they do get it, because have this realization that they can then go, oh my God, now I can do my house renovations. I can relax. I can think clearly about what my next steps are. So,
yes,
that real selling piece, I think, is number one thing I would say to everyone. Learn how to sell in a way that makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah, I think I might need some more tips next session, perhaps to sell to my husband. I think I need a few strategies on how to sell my ideas to my husband. Sometimes I might fall down there, I think.
Yeah, we can always use them in multiple spaces.
Yes. So what is the most underrated tool that is indispensable for your job?
The phone. Puff. Puff.
Puff, puff.
Puff, puff. Yeah, I think honestly, the most indispensable tool is being able to pick up the phone. And, if you're in a service-based business, if you're selling directly to consumers or business to business, to be able to pick up the phone and talk to people, pick up the phone so you can make an appointment with someone and go and get out in front of them. I think, unfortunately, we're coming into this generation, or we're developing this era where we just want to send an email or a message to someone, and that's fine if you want to do what 99.99% of other businesses are doing. But if you want to stand out, you want to be a bit different. Right now, people are craving human connection. They're not going to hang up the phone on you. They're not going to tell you to bugger off. If you're ringing from the same country or you can speak in English, most people are incredibly friendly and they really love that human connection.
Yeah,
so
and I guess if
someone, the most indispensable tool is.
Yeah, and I guess if someone does hang up on you or tell you to bugger off, then they're not your people anyway. So you regardless of how you would have come across their path, you wouldn't want to work with them anyway, because they've probably got a lot of stuff going on in their life. And something else we were chatting about this morning is I always like to say that it's not about you, it's about them. So if someone's rude to you or someone hangs up on you, it's really got nothing to do with you. It's all about, they could have had a really bad day. Something really shitty could have happened to them that who knows what's happened. So don't take it personally. And I'm just telling that to myself right now, not to take it personally, pick up that phone and just take the action.
Oh, look, and it's so true. I was only I think I did a live on this the other day, because it was something that when I was working as a pharmaceutical rep, I really had to get my head around, because the truth is, when you're visiting doctors, they could have that day where they've just had to tell someone they've got cancer, or they've had, all of these really awful things could have happened to them through the day. And then I turn up as this bubbly, excited, happy as life, happy as could be rep. And they're like, get out of my face. Like, this is not the right time. And so I've got an option in that moment. I either choose the thought pattern of, I'm really bad at my job, this sucks, if he doesn't want to see me, no one else wants to see me, everyone's going to treat me like that. Or I choose to think, you know what, he's just had a really bad day. He's had a really tough day with patients today. He's probably had to deliver some really bad news. I'm just going to let him be. So in that moment of someone hanging up, you're right, you get to choose that story. So I often say this to my clients. I'm like, what's the story you're going to choose? When they hang up on you and they don't want to talk to you, what is the story you're going to choose? And let's choose a story, like you were just saying, that they've probably just had a bad day. It might not be a good time. They might have shopping and kids and trying to get out of a car and it's raining and they've dropped something, that you just have no idea what the story is. But your brain will want to make up that negative story first. So your brain will want to go instantly to, no one wants to talk to me. No one, no one wants to have a random person calling them.
Yeah, so all those childhood, torments in the playground, something that come flashing back to you. Oh no, I'm not popular today. The kids don't want to speak to me, and so many different things happen in our past that are now affecting us, isn't there?
That's so true.
Okay, Jules. So thank you so much today. It's been really insightful. I'd love for you to share maybe some 3 quick success tips that you could just shoot out at us now. This is kind of a question. I've put you on the spot.
Yep.
But if you've just got your top 3 tips maybe, or your top 1 tip that you could not live without, what it would be.
Yep.
And then if you wanted to share also just where the listeners can find you, how they can connect with you online or offline to learn more about you and what you do.
Awesome. Okay, so my top 3 tips. Don't forget that selling is not just about acquiring new customers. It's also making sure that you're treating your existing customers and turning your existing customers into loyal customers. So that's where we build consistency from. So there's 3 things. We source, inspire, and engage. So make sure that when you are doing the new business, you're finding the right people. You're clear on your purpose and you find those people who believe what you believe. Number 2 is inspiring them. So once you've got them on board, how do you make them feel really special? How do you go above and beyond for them? Because when you go above and beyond for them, you keep them as loyal customers, and that's when we engage them. So we engage them for life. We make them VIPs. We bring them in as part of our tribe. And what we know is that it costs 5 times more to acquire a new customer than it does to retain your existing. So we want to make sure, yes, we're bringing new business in, but how are we treating our existing business so that we can build that loyalty and that consistency in our sales? That's my 3. Now, what was your other question?
Thank you. How can people, our listeners or my listeners today, connect with you, find you online and learn more about what you do and what you offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is in the process of being rebuilt. So don't go there just yet. At the moment, probably the best place to find me is on LinkedIn or on Facebook. So I'm just Facebook as Julia Zielke. You can find me on, what's the other platform? Instagram as Sales Inside Edge. Yep. And on LinkedIn just as Julia Zielke as well.
Awesome. So I'll get Julia's contact details and I'll share them. This is going to be saved in YouTube, so you can find this podcast episode also on YouTube. So if you want to see our beautiful faces lighting up your screen today, you don't want to just have us in your earbuds, you can also find it on my new YouTube channel. I've put the link to the YouTube channel as well in the show notes for the podcast. So if you're wanting to watch us, you can find us there. And I'll also put in the show notes Julia's contact details. So if you're wanting to connect with Julia, find out more about what she does, Julia has an amazing Facebook group too that you can join for free. And Julia does weekly. Do you do weekly training in there? How often? Yep, Julia does weekly training in there. So I'm sure if you jump inside her Facebook group, is that also Sales Inside Edge?
No. So the Facebook group is called Selling Strategies for Ambitious Entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So you can go straight into the group, or if you do a friend request on Facebook, then we'll send you an auto invite into there.
Okay, perfect. So you can connect with Julia on Facebook and then join her Facebook group where she does free weekly training. So to help you, learn lots of great tips to catapult your business sales. So thank you, Julia, for joining me today on my podcast episode. I hope everyone's loved this episode today. Give me some feedback. Let me know if you're loving the interview episodes. I've got another interview coming up in May as well with a mindset coach all around money and wealth and mindset, Carlo the Kingmaker. So that'll be an interesting one as well. And we're going to do that live in my Facebook group, Business Mastery Secrets, as a webinar on the 4th of May. So if you'd like to join me live in there for the next interview, then you're more than welcome to do that. Find me on Facebook. If you don't already follow me, there's all the areas that you can find me down below. Now, something that's super exciting that I wanted to announce today on the podcast, and I have sent out an email about it, and you're going to see it popping up on Facebook if you follow me, but I would love for you to win an Apple Watch. So between now and the end of June, you've got the opportunity to win an Apple Watch by just doing doing all of the following 4 easy things to do. So 1 is to subscribe to my podcast on Apple Podcast. 2 is to leave me a review. 3 is to send it out to all your business besties, share it with your business besties. And 4, shoot me a quick email at hello@phoebedre.com and let me know what you've loved about the podcast, what topics you'd like me to share, if there's any guest presenters you'd like me to have on here. So just give me some feedback. I get so excited. I've received a couple of emails already about my podcast and it just lights me up. I get so excited about it. I've had one girl, Razia. Thank you, Razia. She messaged me all the way from South Africa. So that day was such an awesome day for me when she sent me that message. So if you've been listening to my podcast and you've enjoyed it, please, I'd love you to win the Apple Watch. It's going to be drawn on the 30th of June because I am an accountant and it's the end of financial year. So it's a celebratory day for me. I'm going to draw it live in my business Facebook group, Business Mastery Secrets. So if you're not already a member, make sure you join that group so you can watch the draw live on the 30th of June. And then, as I mentioned, you've got to do one of 4 things. So you're going to do all of the following 4 things. The first one is subscribe to my podcast. 2 is to leave a review on Apple Podcast. 3 is to share it with your business besties. And 4 is to send me an email to tell me what you love about the podcast, what you don't love about the podcast, what topics you'd love me to share on, and if there's any guests you'd love to hear from me. So I can't wait to hear from you, and I can't wait to give away that Apple Watch on the 30th of June. So thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you, Julia, for being my amazing guest on the podcast today. It is episode number 32 of the Profit to Cash podcast, and I'll chat to you all live next week on the Profit to Cash podcast. Have an amazing day.